be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hi, hello there, good evening. Welcome to the June Alma Show. As usual, this is June Alma, greeting you a very nice evening. Tonight we have a very special guest. He is a British consultant, and we hope to be able to get some very good insights and very enlightening conversations with him, and regarding the status of the Filipino students as compared to all the other students around the world. And I know because of the English factor, the Filipino students are doing well as the Filipino workers all around the world. So tonight we will have a very good expert specialist with us. And so do stay tuned. We will bring you the British consultant shortly. In the meantime, Dr. Chelihano would like to greet you, say a few words. Chair?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Tonight we're going to have our topic, which is on education, as well as how Philippine educational system might compare internationally. So, June?
Yes, and among other things, we will be talking about the K-12 too, and you know how Filipino students are doing well if they would like to study abroad, and really, and since our guest tonight is a British expert, and our medium of instruction has always been English, and lately, from several years back, the English language has been, you know, accredited as the most efficient language, and so it has been the official language of business globally. And so it's very nice that we have, very timely, that we have a very very learned and very amiable British English consultant with us tonight. So let's have a welcome to Mr. Roger Bartholomew, President of the International Education Specialists. Good evening, Roger.
Hi, good evening, Joji.
Welcome to the June Alma Show.
Thank you.
Thank you for guesting with us tonight. Yeah, would you like to share with our televiewers, you know, what brought you to Manila?
What brought me to Manila? Oh, wow. I lived in a country that was very hot, even compared to the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah.
In London? Is very
No,
hot?
London is not hot. London's very wet. This was hot. I was temporarily assigned to Papua New Guinea,
I see.
which is right on the equator, very hot, very humid, and I came on leave to the Philippines. I was really looking for a nice beach to lie on, and I came here. I loved the country. I loved the mangoes. And I was also asked to go and do some business with a couple of corporations. And while I was there, I met Helen, who later became my wife, and she was she was running 2 or 3 corporations here. So we got together, and one of her companies was called International Education Specialists.
Oh,
So when I came to live in the Philippines, this was one of the areas that we really focused on and concentrated on.
Oh, good. So, yeah. Chair, would you like to also ask some more questions?
So it's International Educational Specialists.
Yes.
That would be Inter-Ed.
That's right, yes, for sure, yes.
So, and the school that you're operating is?
School I'm operating is Southfield International School, and we also have a university aspect to that, which is Southfield Foreign University, or SFU, as it's now commonly known.
What levels do you have at Southfield?
With Southfield, the schooling starts with the kindergarten, so we take them from about 4 years and on, and we go right up through grade 12 and up to the International Baccalaureate Diploma. which is really the gold standard in international education. With the IB diploma, you can gain entry into all of the world's top universities, Oxford, Cambridge, Toronto, and of course, many of the universities in the Philippines now also accept the IB for entrance, which is really good.
So this international baccalaureate is like it's like your baby. You were the one who introduced it, or it's already an existing program around the world?
It started after the Second World War in the 50s. And gradually spread around. And the idea behind it was to teach humanities, subjects like history, language, whatever, really so that there would not be any more war. That was the real educational idea behind it. As it grew in popularity, more and more countries started using it, and they discovered the quality of the education was fantastic. So I think it first came to the Philippines probably with the original Brent School in Baguio. I think they were probably the first school to have it, followed by the International School Manila. And then in 2006, Southfield International School decided we also needed a full international qualification, and the IB came and audited our school and said, we'll be happy for you to teach the IB diploma here.
I see. Yeah. So does this bring to to mind to attention the current issue we have now on the K to 12, and the rationale behind additional years into the high school diploma? Is it because of the international baccalaureate also?
That's a big question. No, I think the IB is probably just one aspect of it. I think the thinking behind K-12 is to try and make our high school graduates more competitive. In many parts of the world, and England, where I come from, is one of them, many students leave school after high school and go straight into employment. In fact, companies like them to do that. Then they can train them up in the area they want. So I think a high school graduate needs to be competent to already go out into the workforce. Now, a certain percentage of them probably want to go and do higher education or learn special skills. And the high school education should have prepared them for that. So I think the thinking behind K-12 is we should at least be in line with other Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, others, so our high school graduates are on a similar academic level. I think that's the thinking behind it.
Yeah, but isn't it funny? Like, for example, when I was in the Ateneo, I took prep. I took kinder before that, and then I took prep, and then I took up till grade 7.
Yeah.
If you add all that up, plus the 4 years of high school, that's actually K plus 12.
Oh, sure. That's the number of years, but there's also the learning outcome at the end.
Yeah.
For instance, if I then said to you, could you go straight into a very focused law degree or pre-med degree after your Ateneo High School, where you've been doing maybe 10 or even 12 subjects at not that much depth, you'd struggle. You'd probably cope, but you would struggle. Whereas in the UK system, there's more focus. In the last 2 years, you do less subjects and you do them in more depth. So you're actually very well prepared for your university education. There are differences, and different systems go different ways. So we here in the Philippines basically use the American system, whereby we have a broad base of subjects and not that much depth in them. The system I was brought up with goes the other way. Less subjects, more depth. Because there's plus and minuses for both.
Yes, I understand. We were taking high school classes in 6th and 7th grade and college classes in 3rd and 4th year of high school already.
Sort of, yes, except that when you go to Ateneo as a college or as a university, you probably found it was actually pretty tough. The standards that they set were very high. So here's one of the issues with K-12. What standards are set? What is the learning outcome that students need to have when they graduate? And at the moment, I think there's a lot of disparity here between the top-end private schools, like where you went, and a number of the government schools, particularly those in provincial areas. There's a major difference between the learning outcomes.
You mentioned about the high school being the barometer for hiring workers. So that's why you'd like to beef up the high school graduates with additional 2 years. I mean, as the rationale behind the K to 12.
Yeah, this probably won't make me very popular with some colleges, but a student at the age of 18 is technically an adult. And I would think that at the age of 18, a good number of high school graduates ought to be prepared for the workforce. They're legally adults, they can vote, they can do other things, and obviously they can work. We have a number of industries in this country which are very people intensive. And to be honest, the people don't necessarily need a college education. They need good English, they need self-confidence, they need common sense, they need to do a range of skills at a sensible level. I would love to see that when they finish high school with our new K-12, that in reality they can function in the workplace. Now, if they need more skills or more education, I would like to see those companies even sponsoring them to go back to college, maybe
that's-
part-time, maybe
yes.
evening, where they continue working,
Right.
they keep bringing the revenue in, but their education continues.
Oh, that's a nice mindset. I mean, so, you know, it's like a revolutionary idea into...
Can I bring something personal into here?
Sure,
My
of
youngest daughter,
Please.
can you imagine, I'm in education. My youngest daughter finishes high school in the UK, and I say, Christine, where are you going to university? Daddy, I'm not going to university. You know, shock, horror. And she says, I'm going to work for the Welsh Government. They're offering me a job. After 2.5
After high
years, she
school.
becomes permanent. She's part of the finance section of the Welsh Government. And guess what? She now has the opportunity to go to university where the Welsh Government will pay her tuition fees. They will even pay her for the time she takes off to do her studies.
see.
So she now has the option of gaining her degree
Yes,
while
yes.
still carrying on what is a very nice job,
Oh,
working
yes.
for the
Nice.
finance section of the Welsh
Yes.
Government.
That's
To
very
me,
nice.
she was very smart. And she didn't just automatically say, I want to go to university. She looked around for her options.
Yeah. It's a similar...
when-
Yeah.
Yeah.
go ahead. It's a similar experience that I had because out of college, when I was hired by the Asian Development Bank, so they also sent me to graduate school to take my MBA, and
Yeah.
you know they paid for everything.
Yeah.
And so I've also continued up to my PhD, but of course I'm still, you know, it's still a long, long way off.
Yes.
But what I'm
yeah.
saying is that it can be integrated with, you know, what you're doing already,
Yeah.
so that you don't really lose out on the productive years that while we are in our productive years, we can already contribute in the
And-
workforce.
But I mean, students are different. No two people are the same. Some students love academic subjects. They love English lit, they love history, things like that. They get a lot of academic fulfillment, and they should go straight from high school into universities and do these courses at a high level. There's other students who can't wait to leave school. You know, the last time the school bell rings, they're off like a Formula One start. You know, and they
Yeah.
never want to see the inside of a school again. They want to work, they want to earn money, they want that kind of living. It seems that there's a lot of programming here into you must finish high school. And when you finish high school, you must go to college. And when you've finished college, it's almost now, you must have your master's degree. My thinking's slightly different. I simply believe at each of those levels, there must be a learning outcome, which says the student, should you not want to go further into education at this level, you have enough competency to do a particular kind or a particular area of work perfectly well without more. And if you want more, you should be allowed by your company to go back and increase your skills or your education.
Oh, that's very nice. It sounds very British, though, because I know the British are known for, you know, very simplified and very efficient systems. And whether it's, you know, infrastructure, education, or everywhere, I know the British are really smart about that. So, yeah, we would like to pause for a while after a few reminders, and we shall be back with this very interesting conversation. Do stay tuned.